show you how I did the manger, and I did them on a few different bases. And I did, let me back up the camera. So these were square pieces of wood I got at the Dollar Tree because they were cut, and I cut the corners off, and I took paint and just like a black marker and paint and just tried to mark it so it looked like birch bark. And then the brown line here was just a brown marker. You don't have to do that. I did have some discs of birch bark, and I drilled some holes. I'm trying to get, you can see them. So I'm going to just show you. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to show you how I did it. If you want it to be like this, so you're going to have to make sure when you do this, because I put the Spanish moss and then I put green moss on it, and then I wrapped lights. So when you get that moss down, it's going to hang up. So if you cut your circle a little bigger, or if you cut it too small, you can always squeeze it so it goes up further. And then you're going to have to, once you get all that moss on, you're going to trim it because it'll be hanging everywhere. It's going to be messy. So you might want to do it outside or cover your work surface. So how I did this with a drill is you're going to figure out, you want more in the front, and you just want enough for Mary and Joseph to stand in the back. If you want a base, or if you don't want that, if you just want to set them on a table, that's fine. So you're going to figure out where they need to be, where your wire is going to go. And I just had it. So this wire, and I'm not sure what it's called. It's pretty flexible, and it's got plastic coating. So anything, because this is the same wire right here, and it's not going to have anything on top of it. So how you're going to drill your hole, because you have to get this in at an angle to stay. It's not going to go down, well, it will, I guess, if you want it square. So how my husband showed me how to do this was you're going to drill a starter hole like this, and then you're going to angle it in, and you're not going to go all the way through, because if you do, you're going to go all the way through your board. I did a couple of times. So you're going to go straight down. You're going to drill until you get enough of a hole, and then you're going to angle it. And if you want him to do it, have him do it. And you need your holes going in like that, so they have to go in at an angle. And I'm not going to glue this one right now. And then you would put glue in the holes here. I'll do it because I'm going to use it anyway. And then fill both of the holes that you just drilled with the glue, and then hurry up and get your wire in there and make sure you press it in there, and then you're just going to let that sit. Make sure you have it straight, and you'll be able to bend it once it gets this glue around the base gets hard. Then you're going to build it up, and you're going to add more glue to stabilize it. And if you want to stain, if you're going to use like a plaque like this, which you can get at Walmart, Hobby Lobby, Joann's probably has them. If you want to stain it first, then you would do that. And then once you got your wire in, you're going to take your Spanish moss, and let me get, I only have a few minutes because I'm on lunch. I just wanted to get a bag, and I had some here just to lay down so that I don't make a complete mess all over, because you will get with the Spanish moss. So you're just going to start, and I'm just going to pull some out. I'm not going to do the whole thing. And I don't have much green moss left because I've used a lot of it. So you're just going to take and you're going to start at the base and you're going to put glue and then kind of go up the wire, and then you got to kind of hurry up and do it, and then wrap that around and squeeze it together so it gets stuck to the wire. And what I ended up doing was I cut my Spanish moss in chunks. And so I had it all ready. I didn't have to sit there and try to pull it apart. And I got one Spanish moss. I think I might have gotten it at Hobby Lobby. And it was really nice and soft. It wasn't all dried. The one I got from Joann's had sticks in it. It was so dry, I didn't like it at all. And then I would work myself up and go all the way over. And then this one I probably got a little far back with my wire. So Mary and Joseph can stand like right underneath. So that's why you have to make sure that there's room. And you're going to trim all this. So you'd go all the way around, and then I did down here. And then you would trim it, and I would take it outside and trim it. So it's not hanging all over the place. And then what I did, I have a little bit of green that I kind of started doing. I would just take a little bit of green moss and put some hot glue on, and then you can just take and put a little bit of that all the way around wherever you want to. If you want to wrap it in like some garland, if you want to put leaves, my first one I just did some leaves. Another one, you can wrap this around. You could do both. You could do your Spanish moss, wrap this around, put leaves, however you want to decorate it. And so you would finish that, go all the way around, across, and decorate the Spanish moss. And then in the middle, you would put a star. And I think I got these ones at Hobby Lobby. And they just have a sticker, but I take that off and I hot glue it. So I would just hot glue the star right to the middle. And here's one that I have the Spanish moss. Let me get my bag of stuff out of the way. And if you use your coupons, you can get your Spanish moss and everything on sale. So then you would take, so Mary and Joseph are going to stand back here. So I would just peel off this sticker. And then hot glue the star right up to the middle. And I'm going to turn it here so I can get it centered. And then make sure, if you're giving this as a gift or you're selling it, make sure you have all your glue strings taken care of. And there's our nativity. So here's Mary and Joseph. And I had some other ones. So if this one was too short, the one that we just did, which is pretty big, you can just squeeze it and bring it up. So like this one, I did that, it was down lower, and then I just squeezed it because it's all dry down here. So it's up higher, so it's not touching their heads. And so this was one that I did. I showed you in the other video. I did greenery. I did the garland where I wrapped it. And this greenery here is just from a long garland that I got from Hobby Lobby. And then I wrapped the lights around as the last thing I did. So because I forgot to show you how to make his staff. So what I did was I just tried to measure from where here up to about his head, where I wanted it to start curving. So I'm going to go probably take it to right above his head and cut it off. And this is the wire that's got the twisted paper on it. And you can get it probably, I think I got these at Joann's. So then I just took a dowel rod and I wrapped it around so I could get that bend in it. And then I just took, and you can take a pair of pliers and bend this part right here forward so that you're getting that, okay? So that's how I did it, and then I just inserted it underneath the thread and stuff that we put on there. And if you want to glue it a little bit, you can, but you don't have to. And there he is with his staff. So that's how you do that. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make the cradle, and it's very easy. What we're going to do is we're going to glue 2 of these, and these are the small craft sticks. They're like 2.5 inches long, and you're going to glue 4. You're going to have 2 sets of 4. So we're going to glue 2 together, and you're going to make sure they're nice and even and lined up. And then you can hurry up and pick it up and squeeze it together. And if you start squeezing out glue, wipe it off right away. I'm using a low temp glue gun. And you're going to do that to the other 3. So we got 4 sets, 2 glued together. So these are going to be the legs of the cradle. And then just make sure they're lined up so one isn't longer than the other. And then what we're going to do, and on this one, here's my first one. I did not cut these, and it's pretty wide if it's going to sit like on this Manger Nativity Scene. It's kind of wide. I could have moved Joseph and Mary back. On this one, it would probably be okay, but we're going to make it a little skinnier, and we're going to have it so it's sitting up taller, because you can see the difference between the two. This one I stained. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 of them, and you're going to take 1 of the sticks, and you're just going to, right on the end, you're going to put it on one side first, and then on the other one. And if you have a little bit of the tip of the popsicle, I want to say popsicle stick, of the craft stick showing, like that, that's fine. And we're going to glue 2 more right next to that. So you're going to put glue right next to that other one. And if you get a glue string, just move it out of the way. If your glue squeezes out, wipe it off right away if you're using a hot temp glue gun. So you're going to put 3 right butted up next to each other and press it down, and we're going to let that, we need that, so don't get rid of that. So what I did was I just had these wood planks so I could keep this right in place, because now we're going to take these 2 and we're going to put them in here, because when we put this together, it's going to go like this. You'll see. So this is, don't do 2 like this. You have to do them just like I'm showing you. And I got this off Pinterest. So those legs, you can bring it in a little bit. We're gonna put glue right on the end. And if you have to hold those down, and you're just gonna center it. So it's going to overlap a little bit on the ends, like that, okay? So you don't need that one anymore. Now we're gonna take two more, and we're gonna glue it just like this one. And you can get rid of that. And you're gonna butt that right up against the other one. And we're gonna do one more. And I need a glue stick. And you have to press it and do it really quick if you're using a low temp glue gun, because it dries really quick. So this is how it's going to go together, just like that. Okay, and after I made this one, I thought, well, that's really tall. So what I did, and I was able to do it before I glued these together, I cut these off. So you're going to glue it. When we glue it together, I gotta come over here and show you. We're gonna glue it like this. So we're gonna put glue, I'm trying to get my camera to focus, right along this edge, right there. And then this one is gonna butt right in there. And then when I did this one, I don't know if you can see, I put glue right down in here, and since I'm using a low temp glue gun, after I did it, I let it sit for just a second or two, and then I swiped my finger, and it wasn't hot, and then I glued it underneath there, underneath here, and then underneath these legs, okay? Just so we can get, and you get it stained, and it's going to be glued down to the base. It'll be glued down to here. I'll show you the one that I did. So we're going to take, and let me get the camera close enough so you can see where I'm gluing this. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make the cradle, and it's very easy. What we're going to do is we're going to glue two of these, and these are the small craft sticks. They're like 2.5 inches long, and you're going to glue 4. You're going to have 2 sets of 4. So we're going to glue 2 together, and you're going to make sure they're nice and even and lined up. And then you can hurry up and pick it up and squeeze it together. And if you start squeezing out glue, wipe it off right away. I'm using a low temp glue gun. And you're going to do that to the other 3. So we got 4 sets, 2 glued together. So these are going to be the legs of the cradle. And then just make sure they're lined up so one isn't longer than the other. And then what we're going to do, and on this one, here's my first one. I did not cut these, and it's pretty wide if it's going to sit like on this Manger Nativity Scene. It's kind of wide. I could have moved Joseph and Mary back. On this one, it would probably be okay, but we're going to make it a little skinnier, and we're going to have it so it's sitting up taller, because you can see the difference between the two. This one I stained. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 of them, and you're going to take one of the sticks, And you're just going to, right on the end, you're going to put it on one side first, and then on the other one. And if you have a little bit of the tip of the popsicle, I want to say popsicle stick, of the craft stick showing, like that, that's fine. And we're going to glue 2 more right next to that. So you're going to put glue right next to that other one. And if you get a glue string, just move it out of the way. If your glue squeezes out, wipe it off right away if you're using a hot temp glue gun. So you're going to put 3 right butted up next to each other and press it down, and we're going to let that, we need that, so don't get rid of that. So what I did was I just had these wood planks so I could keep this right in place, because now we're going to take these 2 and we're going to put them in here, because when we put this together, it's going to go like this. You'll see. So this is, don't do 2 like this. You have to do them just like I'm showing you. And I got this off Pinterest. So those legs, you can bring it in a little bit. We're going to put glue right on the end. And if you have to hold those down, and you're just going to center it. So it's going to overlap a little bit on the ends, like that. Okay? So you don't need that one anymore. Now we're going to take 2 more, and we're going to glue it just like this one. And you can get rid of that. And you're going to butt that right up against the other one. And we're going to do 1 more. And I need a glue stick. And you have to press it and do it really quick if you're using a low temp glue gun, because it dries really quick. So this is how it's going to go together. Just like that. Okay? And after I made this one, I thought, well, that's really tall. So what I did, and I was able to do it before I glued these together, I cut these off. So you're going to glue it. When we glue it together, I got to come over here and show you. We're going to glue it like this. So we're going to put glue, I'm trying to get my camera to focus, right along this edge, right there. And then this one is going to butt right in there. And then when I did this one, I don't know if you can see, I put glue right down in here, and since I'm using a low temp glue gun, after I did it, I let it sit for just a second or 2, and then I swiped my finger, and it wasn't hot, and then I glued it underneath there, underneath here, and then underneath these legs. Okay, just so we can get, and you get it stained, and it's going to be glued down to the base. It'll be glued down to here. I'll show you the one that I did. So we're going to take, and let me get the camera close enough so you can see where I'm gluing this. So I'm going to show you where to glue this. You're going to glue it right along the edge of this stick. Right there, you're going to put glue right there. And then you're going to take this one and you're going to put it in the middle, and you're going to butt those up against each other. And then you're going to hold it, and you're going to get it at the angle that you want it. So you have to hold it for a little bit until it starts to set. And I'm going to put some glue right in the middle. And I'm going to let it sit there for a minute until it cools. Then I'm going to swipe my finger. And we're going to let that sit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put some on the bottom here. Right under by these legs where they meet. And then on this other side where these legs are. And then we're going to set that like that. And we're going to let it dry. So I'm going to set that aside. And then I will show you on this one. I will show you on that one if when it dries. I cut the legs. I cut the rounded part off because I didn't want it to sit up so tall. So I'm going to show you how I stain this. I mean, it's very easy. I use the if I have some, I use the Waverly Antique, and I really like this. So I will just show you really quick. And I just brushed it on. You can brush it on, wipe it off. And if you want to put a couple of coats and make it darker, you can do that too. You have to get a brush. So I just took, this was what was left over from the first jar of my stain, so I just put it in this little plastic cup. And I'm just going to check my camera view. And if you wanted to, which I kind of forgot, you can put a piece on the end here. And we can do that quick. Because I did that on the very first one I made. So you're going to try to figure out where you want it. If you want it up higher, if you want it up right there, then we're just going to put glue right here. And then just make sure it's centered on both ends. And we'll have to let that sit and dry. And then we can do the other one, the other side. And I'm putting a good amount of glue. And then you can always go in and put more glue like we did on the bottom and in the middle down in here. And what I did with, actually it was this one. We're gonna let that sit. Like on this one, you can make sure you get rid of your glue strings. You can take a blow dryer or a heat gun. So we can glue on this and here. And I know this side is not even. It's a little off. So now I'm just going to take and go in and put some more glue. And we'll let that sit. And then this one should be good. We should be able to dry it or stain it. So I'm just trying to get rid of my glue strings. So then I just took a little bit of stain and I just started wiping it on, and I did the whole thing pretty much before I started wiping it off so it could kind of set. And then you're going to have to make sure you get in all the crevices and the edges. And you could water down like acrylic paint and use that too as like your stain. Or if you just wanted to use it without watering it down, you can do that too. And if you go on Pinterest, there's a lot of different ways to make cradles. So I made a few of them, and this was the easiest one. And like I said, nobody is going to see this glue underneath here because we're going to glue it down to the base where we have Mary and Joseph. So you just have to make sure you get all your edges. And then I just took a napkin or a paper towel, and be careful when you're wiping it off so you don't bend it. And I need to get this side right here. And then you're just going to let it dry really good. And I'm just going to put this on a paper towel or a napkin just to let it dry. Okay, I'm going to take a break and clean up, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I painted, and I just knocked them over. I painted the one we made, and then I stained the one I made before. And so what you're going to do before, because on this one, I put the wire a little farther back. So Mary and Joseph are going to go like right underneath it. And before you glue them down, make sure you have room for your cradle, and then you can glue them down. So they're going to go right underneath the, I don't know what I want to call it. And then you're going to try to center them. And I'm just putting glue right on the bottom of their main part of their body on the bottom. And then I get them right next to each other and then press them down. And then we can take and we will glue, figure out where you want your cradle to be. And then just add some glue where the legs are. And then we're going to cover that glue up with the Spanish moss. And I'm going to take and put this on a tray because the Spanish moss gets kind of messy. And you can cut it kind of into like chunks or whatever, because when you buy it in the bag, it's like all stuck together and they have a hard time pulling it apart. And if you have to add more glue, you can do that, because if it's drying, if you're using low temp. And then we'll put some right under here in the front. And make sure that's straight. And with this, when you get done, when you do your wire and you put your glue or your Spanish moss on there, you're going to have to trim it because it's going to be sticking out everywhere. So you're going to have to give it a haircut. And I did mine outside because it can kind of get messy. And then he's got his staff there. So I'll make sure you guys can see. And then you can take a knot or shake off the rest. I'm trying to find a pair of scissors. And then I would cut some of this. Whatever kind of sticking out and looks like it needs to be cut. And I'm going to add some on this corner over here. I got it stuck to my finger. And then I'm going to show you, I don't have, I'll show you what I did to one, but I've already given it away. And if you even wanted to put some of that Spanish moss in here, you could in the cradle, but I'm not going to. So what I did was I have some of this garland, and I'll take it off the tray. So let me clean up this mess. So I took some of this, and I think I got it at Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to take a piece and cut it off. And I'm going to bend it. And I'm going to bend the edges over because they're sharp. And I'll do two like that. So you can decorate this however you want to. If you don't want greenery, if you want to do something else besides Spanish moss, that's totally up to you. And then I'm going to take and glue these right here on each corner of the cradle. And if I had, I don't know if I have any right with me. Oh, yep, I do. Hang on. And then I took some red berries and glued those on. So if you cut them so you have a little bit of a stem to glue. And it's kind of hard when you can't touch them. And then I'll do the other side. I'll probably just do two on the other side. And then we can put our lights on. So they have these, I looked at on Dollar Tree's website, and you can buy these. I will put a picture inserted in here so you can see. They do have these plaques. So some of those you can get, I can't remember the plaques, but I know the lights you could buy 3. And it had, it's in the picture. When I insert the picture, you'll see it. So I'm going to take, and this, you can see the wire, so it really doesn't stick out when you're wrapping it around. You won't even see it. So I kind of grab it, I put the batteries in there, and it takes 2 AA. And I try to make sure I have the lights in the front, so if you want to turn the lights on. And there's 10 lights, I think, on here. So they're pretty bright. And then I just work myself all the way around this arch. And it's wires, so you can bend it. If you want the light in the front, just kind of smush the wire together and put it in the front. So you have the brightness around the front and not in the back. And this comes, you have to unscrew to get the batteries in. And if you don't want to unscrew it every time to change the batteries, just tape it. And you won't have to worry about that little screw. Because it's going to be tucked behind here, so nobody's going to see it. And then you can make sure you have the big plastic wire hiding. And you can probably wrap that around the box or whatever, but nobody will see it. And then we have baby Jesus. And there's our nativity scene. We got to glue our star on. And that's going to go right in the middle, so you have to make sure your wire's not underneath there. And those stars I got from Hobby Lobby probably last year. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I will leave a description or a supply list in the description box below on what you need. Measurements are going to kind of be iffy because it's going to depend on how big you make yours. If you're going to make them the same size, I will put what sizes I did for their coverings and clothes and stuff like that. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to join my crafting community and click on that subscribe button. And when you hit the bell, that will notify you each time I upload a new video. If you already have subscribed, thank you for supporting my channel and being on this journey with me. I appreciate all my viewers, even if you're just a viewer and you haven't subscribed. Thank you for watching. So you guys have a great day. Thank you for joining me. I love you. Bye-bye.